Ayo, it's Perso. Now, Breath of the Wild 2 is coming soon, and when I mean coming soon, I mean the next 2 years. And with Breath of the Wild being quote-unquote a masterpiece in many people's eyes, myself included, there are still many things that not many people enjoyed about the game. And with the upcoming sequel, there are 5 things that even I want to see change from Breath of the Wild 1 to Breath of the Wild 2. I feel like a lot of people have seen this coming. Korok seeds are essentially mini seeds that you can find throughout the whole entire world of Breath of the Wild by doing mini tasks and little puzzles here and there. Korok seeds are used to expand weapon, shield, and bow and arrow inventory. However, what many people seem to have an issue with, which me personally I don't, is that the more that you ask for example, the more that you expand, the further you go, it will require more and more Korok seeds, which leads to the point where many people just branch out on different ways, like throwing weapons around and just changing weapons to something even better, and or just mainly focusing on a weapon because that's the most important one in the game. I feel like a lot of people deserve to increase their inventory a lot more fairly, and their biggest problem is that you have a lot of Korok seeds that you don't use because it's just there. You can't really use them anymore because the Korok seeds that they're asking for now is bloody 25, and you'll be out there with 16. So you're just walking around trying to find Korok seeds, but you can't. So instead of, just making the prices go higher and higher, how about instead that for 3 spaces of inventory expansion, it will require 5 Korok seeds. However, if you're asking for 6 spaces, it will require 10 Korok seeds. And if you want to have 12, it will require 15. At 18, essentially, you get the point. Every 3 spaces, another 5 Korok seeds need to be cost. This way, you can easily use a lot of Korok seeds that you haven't used and still get a lot of good spaces for your inventory. Now this one might be a shock to many people, but me personally, I really like the weapon and shield and bow durability. I think it's one of the best things about the game. It allows you to use multiple weapons whenever you need. It makes finding new weapons a lot more better, and actually it makes you want to use every single weapon. However, I know for a fact there are certain types of weapons that a lot of people just really love to have. Weapons that can do massive damage towards any single enemy, and many people want to keep those weapons. However, there's also people who have a lot of weapons in their inventory that they don't want to throw away, but they want to use to sell. And what better thing to have than a blacksmith? A blacksmith, what could be used is restoring durability to a weapon. The higher the damage of the weapon, the more it will cost. However, say that you also want to, salvage your weapon for materials. So you don't have to throw away your weapon. You literally keep that weapon, go to the blacksmith, salvage that weapon, and gain a lot of materials and rupees. That way you can use that to, say make new weapons or upgrade certain weapons and upgrade certain armor pieces that you still have left. This could be used as a really good way to essentially gain a lot of weapons that not many people want to use, but many people know they have some worth to it. Now, what do I mean about filler side quests? Well, to put it simply, I want side quests that are not, simply just collect this much rupees or get this weapon for me or, vice versa. I want side quests to have a meaningful story, something that's fairly simple to make, but fairly meaningful and deep, allowing us to showcase some character growth for some of the villagers in Breath of the Wild. And what better example I could give than the Shrine Quest in Kakariko Village? Easy, without a doubt, one of the best side quests in the game. Now, don't get me wrong, we are definitely going to get filler side quests, but I don't want it to be like a bunch of them. I want to have at least one memorable side quest in different regions. I don't really care how many side quests there are and how much they're gonna make, just please at least make them memorable and more thought-provoking, and give the overall villagers and residents in Hyrule a more chance to show off of who they are and what they can do. Eiji Anomura said that the new Breath of the Wild, or the sequel to it, is not necessarily going to be related to Majora's Mask or inspired by it. What we showed you currently is a little darker. Majora's Mask has always been my favorite Zelda game, and it is best mainly because it's also my first ever game. There's something about Majora's Mask that always makes me come back to it, and I know why. It's its dark tones and dark areas with its creepy music, its really sinister style of writing. Now, will Breath of the Wild 2 have all of those? No, they're not. Well, other than the creepy music and a much more darker story, what I feel like it's gonna more mainly explore is Zelda's, Link's, and Ganon's relationship in general. How they are connected to the three Triforce. Yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about with this game and its dark tones, but we can't really know for sure about what's gonna happen until we're gonna see a bit more. And Zelda games and showing off a bit more is like saying Half-Life 3 finally exists. I don't know, maybe. But until then, we just have to hope and see what type of darker elements Breath of the Wild 2 finally shows. Don't get me wrong, I love Divine Beasts. I think the puzzles are fantastic. I think the architecture is amazing. However, that's the only two things I could say. The big issues I have with them are second to none. There is no music in them. There is no personality. There's nothing unique about each dungeon, other than the DLC one, which is Link's. There are very little enemies other than a couple of spiritual heads and guardians, and the said guardians are the basic small ones which you can defeat by the third divine beast with a one hit. There is no mini bosses at all, and there is just nothing very interesting and memorable about said divine beasts. Now point this at the picture of the Shadow Temple in Ocarina of Time, the Stone Tower Temple in Majora's Mask, and the Water Temple in Skyward Sword. You can point out so much memorable moments in those games. But with Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild, you really can't. There's nothing interesting about them, which is, I think, the most disappointing thing about this game. The dungeons are not that fun. And it doesn't help the fact that, well, apart from very few of the Ganons, the final boss fights are not that challenging to defeat. I mean, I say that, but I feel like a lot of people did struggle on them. So if you did struggle on them, that's completely fine. This is just my opinions, by the way, and my experience with this game. Well, that's all I got for my 5 things that could be changed for Breath of the Wild 2. But if you guys have other suggestions or things that you would love to see change, or things that need to be changed, please let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.